Hello, friends. Well, the hits just keep on coming for our friend Dan. Do you guys remember, I-5, you sunk my battleship?
H6, you sank my battleship.
Whatever it was. Whatever letter it was. Another video by Veritas, a Caritas. Is it et? Do you say et in Latin? I don't know. I don't know any Latin. This one following up on the hyperdiffusion stuff and, you know, the is Atlantis racist questions. Really good video. I listened to this on my way home from work today, so you got to check this out. I learned several things from this. So this doesn't count as something that I learned because I already knew it, but Dan gets so much stuff wrong. And this YouTube channel is going after this one of Dan's claims about who invented modern Atlantis hunting. You know, that video that Dan made about me railing against my interview with Seth Andrews for an hour, claiming that I had misled him and everybody else, and that Ignatius Donnelly wasn't the father of Atlantis hunting and I should know better, and it was these two French guys and yada, yada, yada. He's wrong about a lot of stuff there, and I'm glad that somebody cleared that up. Thank you. And I was also glad to learn he brought in a lot of sources, which there's another video that he credits that I have also now listened to, which should have a lot more views, but I was unaware. I'm more than happy to admit when I don't know something. I was unaware how many instances there are of Atlantis being brought up explicitly or implicitly in kind of the colonial religious project. Starting in 1572, someone is talking about Atlantis as a justification for why these are lands that white people should take.
Christians, it is not right to take anything without a good title, end quote, and explained that the purpose of his work was to write a true history of the Americas, which would assure the king that the Spanish throne had a moral and legal right to possession of the new lands, saying, quote, "This is to give a secure and quiet harbour to your royal conscience against the tempests raised even by your own natural subjects, theologians, and other literary men who have expressed serious opinions on the subject based on incorrect information," end quote. Specifically, Sarmiento assured the king, quote, "This will undeceive all those in the world who think that the Incas were legitimate sovereigns," end quote. So Sarmiento wanted to provide historical evidence that the Inca were not the true rulers of the area of the Americas which they occupied, and that the land truly belonged to Spain. How could Sarmiento justify the Spanish claim? Well, you might have already guessed where this is going, and yes, he appeals explicitly to Plato's story of Atlantis. Sarmiento argued that the Americas were originally Atlantis, which he called the Atlantic Island, and that Atlantis itself was originally a far larger landmass with a coast, quote, "close to that of Spain."
Because Christians don't take land unless they have a title. So here's our title. We were here first, and here's why. From the very beginning of Europe encountering the New World, this has been there, which I guess is not surprising, but it's lovely to see those sources. And I wish I had known that with the talk I gave at BajaCon, because my impression really was that the Atlantis thing really did pick up steam in the mid-1800s with Donnelly, and I stand by the kind of the construction that Donnelly is the father of modern Atlantis hunting. When I say modern, meaning the 1800s, 1900s, 21st century, whatever. But the history does go back a lot farther than I realized, and with more data points and dots to connect than I realized. That was the most important part of the video to me. Another thing that was hilarious was seeing Dan's mistake in translation from using Google Translate on a piece of French that had, the original page or whatever had a hyphen, so it translated as two different words, and he completely mistook that, didn't check it at all, got the wrong meaning, yada, 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 didn't, typical. There's other good stuff in there that you should definitely check out. So anyway, I will say the video lets Hancock off a little bit easy in my estimation about the whole racism thing. He gives plenty of examples of racist stuff that is in Graham Hancock's books, and then he says, well, Hancock is not a racist, he's just repeating these ideas, maybe unwittingly. At least that's what I took away from it. But when you use phrases like, it's, and I'm paraphrasing, but can we really believe that these jungle Indians were capable of doing this sort of thing? I mean, that's that's pretty racist. That's not a quote from, that's not something, somebody that Hancock was quoting. That's Hancock's thought process. So I'm not sure I would let him off the hook so easily. And I'm also not sure I'd give Dan so many kudos for, bravely standing up and attacking Robert Seffer. Like, that's a no-brainer. All these guys should be doing it. It's like, you don't get goody two-shoes points for not being in jail because you're not supposed to be in jail. So I'm not going to reward you or give you a lot of credit for doing what is right anyway. I mean, yeah, great. He did that, but, I'm not going to award him any medals. Anyway, you should totally go check that video out. I will link to it. And as these kind of things accumulate online about all of these data points that these supposed researchers should know about, should be aware of, should have incorporated, it's up to them. It's up to them to answer why. And I don't expect that they actually will, because this is the pattern of deflection and never backing down once you've said something. Let the games continue, but I'm going to call that battleship sunk.
Oh, you sunk my battleship.
Bye-bye.
Battleship. Battleship. Battleship.